You're listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe, Director of Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. This is the Jewish Inspiration Podcast.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Jewish Inspiration Podcast. Today we're going to do a little short and sweet segment on the event that is happening tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 15th day of the month of Av. We know that the beginning of Av is a tragic time for the Jewish people. Many calamities befell the Jewish people during this time, this period of time. And we know a very important principle in Judaism. Whenever you have highs, you have lows. And whenever you have lows, you have highs. That's the way living organisms work. And hopefully, healthy people have ups and downs. If we flatline, it's all over. And one of the things we see here is that although we had tragic days culminating with the destruction of both temples on the 9th of Av, leading into the 10th of Av, on the 15th day of Av, many incredible miracles happened on this day. It's a very festive day. Tu B'Av is an incredibly festive day. It's a day of unbelievable bounty from the heavens, unbelievable blessings from the heavens, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. So, the first thing is that the Talmud says that the young girls, the single girls, would go out to the vineyards and they would wear white clothes that they borrowed from their friends, and they would dance, and the boys would come out there and they would find their wives. And it was a great day of celebration. It says that there's no day of celebration like that day and Yom Kippur. That day and Yom Kippur. So it's really an interesting parallel. What do you mean? What does guys and girls getting married have anything to do with the joy of Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur is a day of trepidation. Yom Kippur is a day of fear. Yom Kippur is a day where we're praying and asking Hashem for forgiveness. Well, we have to get a right idea of what Yom Kippur really is. The first thing we need to understand is that Yom Kippur is a day of indeed great joy. It's a day where we're also cleansed. We're cleansed of all sins. Another thing is that the girls would be out wearing white clothes. Guess what? On Yom Kippur, what do? We wear white clothes. The Talmud tells us that someone who undertakes leadership, which is a husband and wife when they get married, someone who becomes a mayor or a governor of a city or a state, they're also in the same category. Someone who becomes a king, they're all forgiven of their sins. The day of a marriage, the day that a man and a woman get married, they fast all day. The halacha says that a bride and a groom, the day of their wedding, they fast. Why? It's Yom Kippur. So we see the parallels. We see the parallel of how the 15th of Av, the day that was dedicated to the marriage of young men and women, and Yom Kippur being a day of absolute atonement, how they parallel each other. But there are many incredible things that happen aside for that. So we know that, for example, the tribe of Binyamin had an episode. One of their members of their tribe took a concubine and mistreated her, and they were excommunicated. They were not allowed to intermarry with any of the other tribes. They banned the tribe of Binyamin. That ban ended on the 15th day of Av. We also know, if you remember back in the book of Numbers, chapter 36, Moshe gave a decree that no tribe can marry a person from a different tribe, and it was only for that generation. So there wasn't able to be intermarriage between the tribes. That decree ended on the 15th of Av. We know that Hashem told us that because of the sin of the spies, all of the generation who left Egypt will not merit to enter into the land of Israel. So what happened every year on the 9th of Av? People would dig their own graves, they would lay in the grave, and they would die. That all ended the final year of the 40 years in the desert, right before they're about to go into the land of Israel. On Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, that's when that all ended. And the people stopped dying. What we need to understand is that although it's not a holiday where we don't have the regular laws of like you do on Sukkot, on the regular festivals of Sukkot or Pesach or Shavuot, it's still a day of unbelievable bounty from the heavens, where the gates of heaven are open for our prayers, where there's unbelievable potential, where on this day that so many incredible miracles happen for the people throughout our history, that comes back again every year. It's one of the fundamental principles we've mentioned time and again, that the miracles that we experienced back then on, for example, Passover. You wonder, Passover, why do we celebrate Passover now? That happened 3,300 years ago when the Jewish people left Egypt. What does that have to do with me today? Why do we mourn a temple that was destroyed 2,000 years ago? Why do we celebrate Hanukkah that happened thousands of years ago? Because the same power comes back every year on that date. And the same revelation, the same miracle, the same blessing that was bestowed on the Jewish people then comes back to us again now. So tonight at nightfall begins the 15th of Av. So it's an incredible time of prayer, an incredible time of revelation from God, of breaking through barriers, of removing all limits, where Hashem listens to our prayers, where they have a tremendous significance on this day. It's not that they're not listened to on the other days of the year. But we all know sometimes your child can ask you for something and you say no. They ask you a different time and they say no. But sometimes you're just in a good mood and you say, sure, whatever you want. Well, what happened? Are you a different you? You're not a different you. You just got me at the right time. There's a certain blessing, there's a certain omen, there's a certain precious relationship that comes, especially right after the destruction of the temples. We just finished 3 weeks of mourning, 3 weeks where we don't have marriages, we don't have any celebrations, 3 weeks where we don't do any dangerous activity because we're in challenging times, 3 weeks where we don't listen to music. Time of mourning. And we skyrocket up. We elevate ourselves during the 15th of Av. And now we're, not only that this is a great day, it's compared to Yom Kippur, because guess what's coming up? Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Right? In just 35 days from now, 45 days from now, in just 45 days from now, we'll be standing in synagogue on Rosh Hashanah Eve. And in 55 days from now, we're going to be in synagogue on Yom Kippur fasting. And in 60 days from now, we'll be sitting in our sukkahs under the clear, beautiful skies, looking at the stars and showing how we're going to put our change into action. So this is, I saw a little idea. This month is called Av, Aleph Beis, the first 2 letters of the alphabet. Av, which means Father. Hashem is our merciful Father. That even in the most tragic times, we have to know that our Father is always there with us. But Aleph Beis also means Elul Ba. The month of Elul is coming. That's the time to prepare. But we can't prepare ourselves when we're sad. We can't prepare ourselves when we're, when we're feeling the destruction of our temple. Hashem gives us an unbelievable kiss from heaven. He says, here's a special day to change your fortune, to change everything. You know what? Till now is a day of sadness, a time of sadness, a time of mourning, a time of calamity, a time of destruction. And now we skyrocket to the highest levels of spiritual connection on Tu B'Av, where all the gates are open, where we can pray for anything in the world. An incredible time for prayer. Hashem should bless us all, that all of the needs of our people should be met, should be resolved. And anybody that we know is looking for a mate, a partner in marriage, they're looking for a husband, they're looking for a wife, Hashem should send them their blessing. And anybody who's looking for a job should find their blessing. And anyone who's looking for success in their health should find their blessing. In every area of life, make a list today before sunset. Before you start the day of the 15th, be ready with everything you need to ask for. And talk to Hashem. Hashem loves our prayers. Hashem loves when we communicate with Him. Let's utilize this unbelievably powerful day when the moon is at its fullest setting. That's why all holidays fall out in the middle of the month, because that's when the showering of the most blessing comes to the world. We have a full moon. Hashem should bless us all, that we should feel that connection, and we should feel our prayers. We know that our prayers are going to be answered, but we should be able to see it and feel that closeness to Hashem, utilizing this day with unbelievable bounty, unbelievable connection with Hashem. Amen, and happy Tu B'Av.
You've been listening to the Jewish Inspiration Podcast, a Torch production. Become a supporter at torchweb.org, because your assistance enables more Torah learning around the globe. To find more lessons offered by Torch, please visit torchpodcasts.com. Until next time, stay fresh, my friends, and get jiggy with it. Na 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 na.